Images do more than enhance the aesthetic quality of our presentations. They highlight important points we want to make, as well as provide clarification for complex topics. What is important to keep in mind is where these images are found and how they are used. Throughout this tutorial, we will go over various techniques in using images in your presentations and highlight various copyright rules that pertain to using images in the classroom. By the end of this tutorial, you will be able to identify various techniques in using images in your presentations and will be able to explain what copyright is. Please keep in mind that this tutorial is for informational purposes only and is not meant to be taken as legal advice. What exactly is copyright? According to the U.S. Copyright Office, copyright is a form of protection provided by the laws of the United States to the authors of original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and certain other intellectual works. This protection is available to both published and unpublished works. In simpler terms, there are things you can use without asking for permission and other things you need to ask permission for. Ideas and facts are not protected by copyright law. Only the way those ideas and facts are expressed can be protected. To be protected by copyright law, the way the idea and fact is expressed must be in a fixed and tangible form. Anything that is written down, audio or video recorded, and basically provable is considered to be in a fixed and tangible form. Examples of fixed and tangible forms are any literary works, musical scores, play scripts, pictures, graphics, sculptures, movies, sound recordings, and blueprints. Keep in mind that if something is in a fixed or tangible form, it is still protected by copyright law, even if there is not a copyright statement on the material. Some materials are considered freely available without the need to ask for permission, such as when the author clearly states that you are free to use his or her materials, if the item you want to use was created by the United States government, or if the work is in the public domain. Works that are in the public domain are free to use without asking for permission. These materials were published prior to 1923 and no longer have copyrights attached to them. Here is an example of an image within the public domain. Though I did not need to ask permission to include this image in my tutorial, I still need to provide a full and complete citation for it. Please keep in mind that just because something was published before 1923 does not mean that it is necessarily free of copyright. A family member of the deceased author may still own the copyrights to that work, or the publisher of that work could still be in existence. If something is not in the public domain, how long can it be protected by copyright? Typically, if the author is known, copyright protection will span from the beginning of the work's creation through the life of the author, plus 70 to 95 years after the author's death, not including the option to renew the copyright. Copyright may be extended further if the deceased author's family or publisher chose to renew the copyright. If the author is anonymous, copyright protection will span between 70 to 120 years after the work's creation. The link below will take you to Cornell Copyright Information Center's Copyright Term and the Public Domain in the United States page. You'll be able to see the various examples of when materials enter the public domain. Fair use is the copyright guideline that enables us to use works that are not in the public domain, published by the United States government, or freely given to us by an author. Fair use is not a law and is meant to provide a basic guideline in how to use copyright-protected material. Unfortunately, there is not a formula we can easily follow. We just have to use our best judgment. Examples of fair use include using an item for research, teaching, commentary, criticism, and parody purposes only. Only a small portion of that item can be used, such as a single article or chapter, and only one chart, graph, article, or cartoon. If you are still confused about how to determine if your use would be considered fair use, ask yourself the following questions. Why do I want to use this? How am I going to use it? How much am I going to use? How will my use affect the sale or market of the original work? A helpful tool for determining fair use is Copyright Clearance Center's Checklist for Fair Use. Images are invaluable to our teaching and presentations, and we should not be afraid of using them. There are various techniques that will ensure our successful use of images. The first place to check for images to use in your presentations is the library's databases. Please keep in mind that different databases have different rules for how you can use their images. Most image resources the library subscribes to request that you include the copyright information for the image and provide a citation. The image seen here was taken from Access Medicine, a resource the library subscribes to. There are many free images available on the web. However, be sure to carefully read the web page where your desired image is coming from. Many creators and authors will place guidelines on how their images can be used. An example is a Creative Commons license. A Creative Commons license is a copyright license issued by the organization Copyright Compliance. It allows an author to retain the copyright of their material rather than giving the copyright of their work to a publisher. But it also allows the author to let others, people like you and me, to copy and share their work as long as credit is given to them. In other words, if someone has a Creative Commons license, you can use their materials as long as you give them credit. More information about Creative Commons licenses can be found at the link below. When using an image found freely on the web, always check to see if the author has placed any requirements on how to use the image. The image seen here was taken from the Yale Introduction to Cardiothoracic Imaging and can be used so long as the Creative Commons license is followed. Here is a collection of sources to search for freely available images. Please keep in mind that not all images in these pages will be free. Copyright and other restrictions may apply. When preparing for a class, you come across a chart that you'd like to include in your presentation. From the copyright information provided, it is not clear if the chart is freely available or if you need to ask permission to use it. A solution for this problem is creating your own chart based on the original chart's data. The chart seen here has been modified. Though the chart is mine, the data is not. I still need to provide citation information for where the data came from. Before using any image, check carefully and evaluate the work. Are there any copyright notices? If you are unsure if you are allowed to use the work, always ask for permission. And when you do ask for permission, make sure that it is in writing. Just as important as asking for permission is making sure that you properly cite the original source. Many resources are available to assist you in asking for permissions. A variety of techniques for using images in presentations were utilized today. Depending on where you found the image and how you want to use that image, one method will work better than another. If you have any questions or need additional assistance, please contact the College of Medicine Medical Library.